video, I'm going to teach you how to embroider 2 t-shirts, which you wouldn't think would be all that hard, except that t-shirts are made from a lightweight jersey knit material that has a tendency to stretch, as knits do, and pucker when embroidered. So there's a few tips and tricks that you can apply to ensure that you get a really good and professional result. Kind of like this one. To embroider t-shirts, you're gonna need a few materials. Apart from the t-shirt itself, of course. First, you're gonna have to get some kind of adhesive spray. This is 505, you don't have to use this one, it's basically just quilting basting spray. Allegedly, people have been using glue sticks as well, but I'm not sure how that works because I've never done that. I just buy the basting spray. Next, you need cutaway stabilizer, not tearaway. Remember, if it's worn, it's not torn. Tearaway stabilizer is not going to provide stabilization to the embroidery design after you've washed it. So for t-shirts, you definitely want to go with some kind of medium weight cutaway or a lightweight no mesh. Bear in mind that if you use the no mesh, you probably want 2 layers. For knit and plush materials, I usually recommend that people use a water-soluble stabilizer on top. Stuff looks like plastic wrap, it's great. Anywho, this stuff keeps the thread from sinking down into the fabric and essentially disappearing. It's witchcraft. And the last thing that you're gonna wanna get is fusible tricot. It comes in black and white. I just happen to have a big old roll of it in black. Now you don't have to use this, but I highly recommend it because it provides a lot of extra stabilization after everything's been cleaned up. Usually one of the biggest problems that people have with embroidering t-shirts isn't actually the embroidery portion itself, it's what happens after you've worn it, washed it, and dried it. If the shirt that you stitched to isn't pre-shrunk, you're in for a wonderful surprise after you take it out of the dryer for the first time. That's where this stuff comes into play. It also helps cover up the remainder of the cutaway stabilizer that needs to stay in place on this shirt, so it doesn't irritate your skin. That goes extra for anybody who's making baby garments, or garments for toddlers, because toddlers like to gripe a lot about everything, including the little line at the toes on any sock. Oddly specific, but relevant. One additional consideration that you need to make is what your design is. If you've selected an embroidery design that's really dense and has a lot of stitches packed into one location, you're probably going to get a lot of puckering. The lighter the fabric that you're stitching to, the less density you're going to want in your design. And to be honest, that's really what gets people in the end when it comes to embroidering t-shirts. The higher the density, the more it's gonna pull that fabric in. Let's take my design for example. This is a really simple design without a lot of filled areas. I'm not saying you can't have filled areas, but you'll want to take care as to what the stitch lengths and spacings are so you don't end up with a stiff and puckered black hole of doom on your t-shirt. I've used triple and single stitches in Hatch Embroidery to create this specific design. I also have some small areas that are using satin stitches. Those aren't going to cause as much of an issue as something like a tatami fill. If I turn off True View, you can see how sparse the stitching is. There's very little risk of this design eating my t-shirt for breakfast. Now that we have everything we need, we can start embroidering. So the first thing you'll need to do is prep your cutaway stabilizer. You need 1 layer of medium weight cutaway or 2 layers of lightweight no-show mesh. Coat the top of the stabilizer with the basting spray. Now for the next step, you need to actually mark where you want the center of your design to go. There are a number of different guidelines out there of like how to position it depending on if it's left pocket, right pocket, center, or I don't know, here. The point being, you need to know where you're going to be putting the hoop, preferably before you go hog wild with shoving it into the t-shirt. Now for brevity's sake, I am using a little bit of a jersey knit that is basically the same material that's used to make t-shirts. That's because I want to make sure that I don't use a really dark fabric with a really dark thread and you can't see what's going on at the embroidery machine. Once you've positioned your hoop, you just need to gently lay the fabric on top of the stabilizer stabilizer and smooth it out so it sticks to the basting spray. Don't stretch the shirt's material, but also don't make it too loose. Both of these actions will cause the fabric to pucker and bubble when stitched. You just want to smooth out any wrinkles and let the fabric lay naturally on the stabilizer. Lay the water-soluble stabilizer on top of the t-shirt's fabric, then attach the upper half of the hoop and start embroidering. You don't really need to do anything special with your embroidery machine other than maybe swap out your standard needle for a ballpoint needle. Standard embroidery needles have sharp tips, so they are capable of cutting the tiny stockinette stitches of the stretch fabric. A ballpoint needle is more likely to glide through those loops rather than shred them. I've never had an issue with this, haha, knock on wood, as I use very small needles for my shirts. Also, I'm too lazy to write down what needles are in what slot and how long they've been there. YOLO! If you recall, my design doesn't have dense fill areas. Looking at the results from the back of the hoop, you can see how clean it is. If this were one big tatami fill, it would be poking up as the shirt would have been stretched inward toward the center of mass. You know, like that little black hole joke I cut earlier. Now that we're done embroidering, we need to clean up and prep everything so that the t-shirt doesn't scrunch up or look weirdly wrinkled when washed. Carefully take some scissors and trim the cutaway stabilizer so it's roughly a 1/4 inch outside of the design. Depending on how liberal you are with applying the basting spray, you may need to peel the stabilizer away from the t-shirt. I like to take smaller scissors afterward to trim some of the hard to reach areas and round out any sharp corners. The next step is optional but highly recommended. As I mentioned earlier, fusible tricot is a very lightweight interfacing used in garment construction. You can fuse a patch of it to the back of the design to reinforce the area from shrinking and wrinkling when laundered. It has the added bonus of making the shirt more comfortable to wear. When using an iron to attach it, you'll want to apply a moderate amount of pressure and only lift and drop the iron to move it. Don't move the iron around by sliding it, or you risk stretching the fabric while fusing. Truthfully, you'll get better adhesion with a heat press. Fusible tricot has this nasty habit of peeling away at the edges if it isn't applied with enough pressure. I used a fabric swatch for a simpler demonstration, but here's the results of my design on an actual t-shirt. Don't mind the fuzz, apparently one of my kids thought putting toilet paper in the washer was a good idea. This has been through 2 cycles of laundry. I haven't needed to iron the shirt, and the tricot patch on the underside is still firmly fused. And there you go! Now you know how to embroider a t-shirt. Thank you so much for tuning in. Feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel. If I don't get a steady number of subscribers a week, I must look to other places from which to reap souls. Please don't make me do that.